Hi, my name is Stephen Valdez. I'm with the EDC of Weslaco as the Executive Director.
And Steve, it's always great to catch up with you because no matter what, when I come over here to Weslaco, the story's always about growth.
Right.
You've got so many good things happening in the Mid-Valley. And we've got three topics to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to discuss the new industrial park, we're going to discuss retail, development, and then housing. And we'll do it in that order if it's okay with you. Last time we connected with you, you had your groundbreaking ceremony.
That's right.
For the Mid-Valley Industrial Park, and you were telling us at the time that there's a lot of interest.
Mm-hmm.
You found your anchor tenant, but there's other interest in the other lots available. And if you would, can you give us an update on where things are there?
Sure. Well, we're about 20% complete with construction. So you go out there and you see a lot of earth moving equipment, large tractors moving dirt all over the place, and that's exciting. The center of the road is starting to take shape. All of the water detention areas are being dug out. You can almost start identifying how the layout is going to occur. And so that's exciting to see that within just a matter of a month, they've already progressed so fast. They're getting ready to connect water. They've laid all the sewer lines. And so it's just moving at a really fast pace, and we're excited about that. We also have about, the other exciting part is to have about 30% of it already sold. And in fact, I come prepared. I have the little flyers that we put together that also show, these darker spots here show the spaces that are sold. So we have the front commercial pad section that has an acre each, and we've sold 3 lots already there. And then the larger one that we talked about with Glacier is back here, and then the other here that we're not quite ready to announce who they are, but they picked up about 10 acres there. So it's really going really well.
Tell us a little bit about Glazers again. I know that announcement was made at the same day that you had the groundbreaking ceremony. I believe they're from Dallas.
Their headquarters is in Dallas. They have distribution centers throughout the state of Texas and Oklahoma, and so this being one of their largest. So they ended up being somewhat landlocked in McAllen, and they needed to grow because the valley's growing, the region's growing as a whole. And so when we started to talk and develop that relationship, what started to stand out more and more was our being centrally located. And so this location is really 1.5 miles, 2 miles max away from the expressway. And so 1015 is a state highway, so it's going to be well maintained. It's a 5-lane road, so it literally takes you 2 minutes to get there from the expressway. So accessibility to their clients is so much faster. They're building a 250,000 square foot property. The way they described it at the event, the groundbreaking, was 5 football fields under one roof, and that's pretty amazing. And then they're bringing 200 jobs. Some of them are relocating and some are new, and so we're just really excited to have that anchor site coming to Weslaco.
Mm-hmm. I know whenever we meet up, I always like to see what the link is between what you're doing with the industrial park and the development going on both at the Donna International Bridge and the Progresso Bridge. There, an expansion plan is underway in both cases, and that connection, the international trade connection, and how that informs and helps you make decisions on whether you need another industrial park.
You know, when we purchased the land for this, we knew about both. We really did know, and you know, they had been talking about this, both Donna and Progresso had been talking about this for years, and to see it actually now coming just happened on its own. These ducks lined up all by themselves, and the stars as well, to make this happen and coincidingly happen together. But the great thing is that the people that are interested in showing interest in the space now aren't really depending on that. So this is really growth outside of the interest of the industrial park or the expansion of the bridges. I think that once that becomes more defined and there's a time table to that, I think we're actually going to grow, and like you said, probably start looking for another tract of land. I think so.
And you teased again that other tenant that's coming in at the front of the property. I know it's a big name because that's what was said at that groundbreaking ceremony, but you're still going to keep teasing us on the name, on who that might be.
Well, you know, the non-disclosure statement on the contract is probably as long as these pages put together, so we're very careful. But the date that they told us that we could announce is the day they finished their building, which is probably another end of 2023. But they are creating 147 jobs. Their investment in that building is slightly over 10 million. And they're in the distribution and shipping and receiving industry, and so that just makes us all more curious. And it wouldn't be the only site in the region. They would have at least 2 other sites in the region. We would probably be the 3rd.
And it's hard for you perhaps to make this sort of prediction because you don't know who else is going to take lots and what industry they're going to be in, but could you hazard a guess as just to how many new jobs might come to Weslaco as a result of this industrial park?
If we're talking 30%, 30% of this space and already 350 jobs, and if we were to kind of do the math in our heads, I think we'd be at least 1,000 by the time we're all said and done. One of the things that we're finding in terms of a niche in Weslaco is that because we're centrally located, we seem to be being contacted by a lot of distribution companies. We've started to, again, renew our relationships with Rio Bravo and Reynosa, and the idea of bringing manufacturing is also of value to us. And so we're having conversations with those kind of people as well, of those industries. And so, and then there's some really strong local companies that have been in Weslaco for a long time as well, and would love to continue growing here. And so we're really on all 3 cylinders, trying to reach out to across the border, our neighbors down the street from us, just separated by the river, of course, and then our own locals, and then some in our region that are liking the idea that being centrally located has a greater value.
Can you tell whether the community, as a general rule, do people in the community know about this? Is there excitement out there as to what this could bring?
I think so, and we sometimes monitor our social media pages, and when we announced and when we promoted the groundbreaking, in all honesty, there was a little bit of a mixed review. If there was a mixed in the sense of it being negative, it was because of the regional problem that we have, which is flooding. And so we are out there to try to explain that number one, if you look at the layout of this flyer, water flows in a northeast direction, and there's residents on the east southern portion that's divided by mile 9. So just the way the nature of the land, it pushes water away. Plus we're building berms all along the street about 3 to 4 feet high. And then there's some lines in there that show the ditches or detention. So we're going to capture a lot of that water and push it away from any potential residents there. And the canal system and the ditch system with the irrigation district has just been phenomenal. I mean, we went from 146 acres here down to about 122 because we lost at least 10% to the ability to retain water on site and push it into our ditches and then out of the way. And so we're real happy that we've had a good set of engineers that have steered and concerned themselves for the neighbors around to make sure that they're taken care of. But the idea that we can continue growing to the north of Weslaco, that the kinds of jobs are high-paying jobs. I mean, there's none of these businesses that are going to pay any less than $14 an hour. That's where the excitement and the energy comes in, is the ability to live nearby and work, in some cases, blocks away from where you might live and work.
I was going to ask if potentially 1,000 new jobs, and you're not swapping these jobs, these openings from one part of Weslaco to another. This is all new expansion, an expansion project. How about your workforce? Have you got a trained workforce for the sort of jobs that will be coming available within the industrial park?
Well, the workforce we're fortunate again to keep plugging that central location because the workforce can come from anywhere. Because it's so close to the expressway, the drive time, we really call it a drive time workforce. They can live in McAllen, Harlingen, even Mission, and have a comfortable 30-minute drive into Weslaco. They could live in San Benito, Harlingen. We actually now have a lot of people coming in from Brownsville, and so the fact that we're so close and we're right off the expressway makes it so that our workforce we can take from just about anywhere in the valley. The skill level, a lot of these companies that we're talking to either have on-site training, plus we have a great relationship with STC in that if there's a void in the type of training in their employees, then they come and fill in the gap. And so we have a grant that we pay STC to be able to offer that to all of our Weslaco employees at any level, whether they're industrialized or mom and pops. So we think our workforce is going to be there, and we think we'll have a healthy workforce for any industry that comes into town.
Thank you, Steve. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the industrial park or commercial and industrial development in your city?
To come talk to us. I know there's other industrial parks out there to look at. We just want an opportunity to share what are benefits of our location. We're trying to be competitive in terms of our pricing, and so just give us a chance. That's all we ask for. And
so tell the viewers how they can reach you.
So you can reach us at our offices. Our phone number is area code 956-969-0838. And you can email me personally at svaldez@weslacoedc.com.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, the second part of our video, the second part of today's interview, retail. The retail development going on in Weslaco. We all know how important Weslaco is. Those studies came out that said you have more customers, more folks visiting the restaurants and the stores per capita than anywhere else. You're a magnet there. What new retail projects are in the pipeline?
We have three that are currently under construction right off the expressway. So you have, if we were to start from west to east, we have where the micro hospital is, a development there. That's a second development by the developer. And so they were so successful in their first that they're already starting a second. And what's cool about that place is that while they might have frontage property that has all the visibility, they have property towards the back. And being close to the micro hospital, we're hoping that they can also bring in health-related industries where they might have health services that they could also continue to offer. You move down a little further, and then you have Bridge Avenue. Actually, I passed one. It's Palm Plaza, which is right in the heart of Weslaco. We just got some new flyer information from the company. They're very aggressive also. They've redesigned the whole look, and they're trying to attract a anchor tenant, and so they're having conversations. In fact, just this morning we talked to a company that they've been talking to that's looking at the city of Weslaco.
Is that the one next to Texas Avenue?
That's right, right next to Texas. So you have the McDonald's on the corner and the Wendy's, and then the St. Pius Church, and so all that property behind. I even have a flyer for that, just didn't bring it with me. Okay. But they're wanting to re-identify the facade and the buildings that are there, and then they've leveled the property so that they can come in and do brand new build-to-suit type construction. The other side is a little further over on Bridge, and that construction site is already very visible. There's 4 standalone buildings that offer a diversity of sizes, and then there's space for 4 pad sites. The only one that we're able to talk about in terms of them securing is Freddy's steak burgers and custards, and then they're working 2 others that are very exciting. If they were to choose Weslaco, I know Weslaco would be very happy to have those other 2 restaurants that are also national chains.
And that's the one that's being done by St. Ives Realty?
Garensway is...
sorry, Garensway.
Yeah, Garensway, yeah.
You know, I see so many retail developments, I'm mixing up the developers.
Yeah.
Mr. Garensway, yes, of course, I remember him.
We do have one more that's working a little slower. It's on the corner of 1015 and Expressway. So there used to be an old hotel there. It used to be called the Palm Air Hotel. That also became obsolete, and so the owner knocked it down, and he's looking to develop a 120-bed hotel, but he's also looking for an anchor restaurant. And so we've been trying to help him recruit. That's really a great location because it sits a little bit outside of Weslaco, which means the draw can come from anywhere. Brownsville, Harlingen, San Benito to our east, and then any draw from the west as well. So we really do think that's a great spot also.
Yeah. Anything else to talk about on the retail front?
That's
well,
it.
I guess we could incorporate into this part of it your downtown, the help that you give small businesses that are based downtown. Right.
We have staff members that walk the streets of downtown, and they talk to the owners about the facade grant that offers $5,000 per lot. And our lots are small. That's a 25-foot space. So if a building occupies a 50-foot wide, then it's $5,000 per lot. In this case, it'd be $10,000. And so we want to allow them to preserve what's already there or to fix what we see from the outside. And then the Weslaco 100 grant pays for code improvements. And so because those are older buildings, we expect that when the code folks from the city of Weslaco, I'm missing planning and zoning, who have their inspectors to go in, if they see that they need electrical problems or they have structural problems, then we take care of a grant that pays up to $25,000 per floor. If there's a 2-story building, that's $50,000. So that's a huge amount that a new owner can look at and say, well, that's not going to come from my pocket. That will get some help from the EDC. So we've been getting a lot of interest in our downtown Weslaco.
And I know we've talked about this before, the fact that in some other valley communities, downtown has declined somewhat, the amount of activity going on, but you've got a very vibrant downtown. You have had all this time, and it's still there. Post-COVID, everything is fine. It is.
We're not a large city like Austin and San Antonio, who have already developed a walking culture. People still in the valley want to get out of their car, take 10 steps and be in front of the store, or at least park in front of a store. But we're trying to get our community to think that those are destination locations. They're charming, they're attractive, they have their own personality, that it might be worth getting out of your car, walking a block or two to go into their store. And that's been successful for us. The lack of parking really is at first sight a distraction to new potential companies, but when we've had a lot of experiences where they'll park their vehicle in one location and just sit there for a couple hours and watch the traffic, and they're sold immediately because they see the nonstop traffic first of all, and then they see the walking mentality that people walk out of their cars and maybe a block or two if they had to. So we're still real happy about how things are going with our downtown.
Do you think the Alfresco project has helped with that?
Hugely, hugely. Our downtown street festival called Alfresco has been working great. I've been here 6 years going on 7, and it continues to grow. We're trying to get more electricity so that we can offer, because it's a nighttime event, and so we're talking to AEP about extending electrical opportunities and options for our people that come out. But it's a great night. Live music coming up actually tomorrow, Thursday. We've got it's going to be a nice fresh night for being outside.
And I imagine you're getting people from all across the valley coming for that. That's not just for Weslaco residents.
That's right. We're fortunate that we have the stability of a strong Weslaco resident base, but anytime we stop and talk to people, they're always from outside the city.
Well, great. Thank you for your update on retail. The third and final topic is going to be housing, because I know you've got some good announcements to make there on projects to satisfy the demand. The demand is clearly there. More people are moving to the valley, and you're going to make the pitch that the Mid-Valley is a great place to be living and working.
Well, we also, with the work of the Planning and Zoning Department, we put together a flyer that looks like this. And so it has the city limits, a little bit of our ETJ outside. And when you see the red dots, each of the red dots represents a building permit for either a set of lots or a subdivision. And so right now, if I look at just the top, out of the red dots, we've lost what used to be empty land that's now almost 600 acres taken. We look at the chart, the gray dots represent last year's growth. And so you look at last year was also another 600. So just in 2 years, we've lost 1,200 acres to housing development in the city. And then so we also divide the single family and apartments. So we've got 1,900 apartment units coming into Weslaco as well. And so, you know, there's growth on all three sides. And that's what really makes a true economy successful. When you have one growing faster than the other, then that's not necessarily the most success that you can have in terms of your economy. The fact that we have more residents moving into Weslaco, building houses and staying here, means that there's the workforce increases, and then the ability to support our retail. When you have more retail than you do residents, then that just means that residents have more choices to go to, but not necessarily more income to spread their money around. I have 5 different restaurants to go to. My income doesn't change, but when 6 and 7 and 8 more restaurants come in, I only have that much money to go 8 different ways. But when your city's growing, then you have more people spending more money.
If you were to add up a number of homes in with those red dots, have you got a ballpark figure of how much? Sure. It could mean?
There's 1,172 lots, assuming that those lots are going to become houses. That's the automatic obvious, and then apartments. There's 1,906. So roughly over 1,100 lots and 1,900 apartments. So when you think about apartments, you think about square footage, and you say an apartment is a lot smaller space, a house is a larger space, and you have more families going into smaller spaces, which means you're utilizing your land in a better way by way of apartments, but at the same time, single family homes are also on the rise. So it's really a good combination.
And the time frame for these projects?
These are permits for just the year of 2021-22. So we'll have another chart next year to show 2022-23. So we've learned that as soon as a subdivision is ready for sellable lots, they don't stay very long. I drove by one, and within 6 months, 40 houses went up. When it was just dirt and streets and fire hydrants and lights. Now, when I drove by 6 months later, you have about 40 houses in that same subdivision. So, you know, it's a great time to be in Weslaco all the way around. Whether you're looking to build a home, to live in Weslaco, to work in Weslaco, to shop in Weslaco. So we're really once again hitting on all 3 cylinders.
Well, thank you, Steve. Those are all the questions I had. Is there anything I've missed out? Any other developments you want to tell us about?
Well, not so much developments, more so the leadership. I think that if we had a struggling city leadership, we would probably not be seeing the kind of development and progress that we see now. We have a great planning and zoning department as well. So when you get a permit in, there's the ability to push those permits along to get those projects off and running. And so great leadership, great workers at the office level within the city hall. The EDC at times mediates relationships with a lot of these partners coming into our community. So we really go out of our way to take care of that company that's interested in coming to Weslaco.
Well, thank you so much. Once again, how can people reach you?
Again, Stephen Valdez with the EDC of Weslaco as Executive Director. Our office number is 969, or area code 956-969-0838. And you can reach me by email at svaldez at weslacoedc.com. Valdez ends with a Z, so we'd be happy to talk to you.
Steve, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to meet up with you to learn the latest developments in Weslaco. Thank you so much for today's interview.
Enjoyed this. Thank you so much.